All right, guys. Good games. Good games. Yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Catch you in the next one.
Hey, man. You're smart, right?
I'd like to say that I'm smart, yeah.
Like, you graduated college smart?
Well, actually, I graduated college twice. But yeah, I guess college smart.
Oh, so you, like, smart. I have a question for you.
I have a question for you first. How did you get into my house?
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I would like to know, does crouching in Valorant actually help my aim?
Does crouching in Valorant help your aim? I mean, I don't think it does, but some people say it does. Why? Well, I mean, I can maybe try to figure it out for you.
Nah, you're smart. I'm sure you figure it out. I'll catch you in the next one.
Catch me in the neck. What? Well, I guess I know what I'm figuring out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VeeKay channel. And I know that probably wasn't the best acting that you've seen in your lifetime, but that did pretty much intro the video perfectly. Today, I'm asking the age-old question. Does crouching actually help you aim on Valorant? Now, even though I said I have 2 degrees, my degrees are in social sciences, not actual sciences. I'm not gonna lie, making this video, I did a lot more science and a lot more math than I actually did in school. In all seriousness, no, seriously, this took a lot of work, and honestly, if you guys would leave a like and comment, that'd be awesome. But let's get right into it. So the first thing we have to introduce is our independent and dependent variables. This is a science experiment, so we need to have those 2 things present. The first thing is the independent variable. That is the variable that will change throughout this project, and that is crouching. The posture of our character or our agent in Valorant is going to be forever changing in our science experiment, hence crouching. The dependent variable, which is the variable that is affected by the independent variable, is the spray patterns or the guns, or the accuracy. This won't make sense right away, but I've got to explain to you something that I made up, and that's head level accuracy. That is what I used to measure the accuracy of these spray patterns. I'm going to be using HLA for short in the later of the video, but honestly, let's get right into it. So before we could test these variables, we need to have a baseline. That is key in every single science experiment. The baseline here is not crouching. What the actual spray pattern of the gun is without aim correction and without crouching. So what I did is I went into the range, went to the little target, stood 5 meters away, and just sprayed. I emptied all 3 clips of the gun to see if the spray pattern is the same, and sure enough, it was. Now, I learned something about this. I thought that Valorant spray patterns were RNG. I knew that it was straight at first, and then whether it went left or right first was randomly generated. However, that wasn't the case. As we see, it made that weird 7 pattern. I never knew that, and I'm in Diamond 2. So now that we have that baseline, let's go ahead and introduce our 2 independent variables that we're going to be testing. The first one is one that's very common, and that is Instacrouching. I define Instacrouching as crouching before you shoot, crouching as soon as you shoot, or crouching after 1 bullet, immediately after 1 bullet. Let's see how the spray patterns immediately change after we Instacrouch. So after Instacrouching, you actually see that the pattern is very much tighter than the normal baseline pattern. But let's take it a step further, because this is the pattern that I see the pros doing. And this is kind of the pattern that I've started doing. That is crouching after your first 3 bullets are fired out of your mag. Let's take a look at that. So now you can see why the pros genuinely typically tend to crouch, not immediately, but after they shot like 3, 4, 5 bullets out of their mag. So let's take a look at all 3 patterns side by side. Now this is where HLA comes into play. I took it one step further, and this is phase 2 of this project. This is a 3-phase project, so there will be another phase after this. Phase 2 is going to the bot next to that target and figuring out the HLA, head level accuracy. What I mean by that is I aimed my crosshair right at the bot's head and clicked and sprayed with no aim accuracy. The reason why I tended to do this is because if I start at the body level, you'll see that the bullets still go up the body to the left, and we won't see how many bullets actually hit your target. Whereas this, you will see how many bullets actually hit the target, especially when we start crouching and we can see the aim reset or the aim dependency. So let's take a look at our baseline. With our Vandal, we emptied all 3 clips, did not aim correct, just let the gun reset back to the head of the bot. And these are our results. So from 5 meters away, same amount of meters as we were from the target, the Vandal hit 11 bullets out of 75. 5 meters away, that's a 14% accuracy rate. Without crouching, without aim correction. With the Phantom, you hit 13 bullets out of 90, which was also 14% head level accuracy. So they're kind of even. Now, the difference between this and real Valorant, and you will see this in a little bit, is there's going to be some outliers. But before I get to that, let's keep going. So let's add our first independent variable. That is Instacrouching. 5 meters away, with the Vandal, 25 bullets out of the 75 bullets hit the target. And when I say hit the target, I do not mean head. I do not mean just body. I mean hit the target, hit our bot. The reason why I'm calling it HLA is because we started at head level, because typically that's where Valorant players want to aim, is head level. So at HLA, you hit the target 25 bullets out of 75 bullets. That is 33% of your shots have hit the target. With the Phantom, 56 bullets out of 90 hit your target. That's 62% of your aim at HLA accuracy. Now, what's surprising to me about this is when we start to see the argument against Vandal versus Phantom, right? So that's the second age-old question. I could probably make a whole separate video about that. But this time around, we see the Phantom is more viable for those who insta-crouch. Now let's talk about crouching after 3 bullets. Let's take a look at our footage. The Vandal hit 29 bullets out of 75. That's 38% HLA. The Phantom, on the other hand, hit 58 bullets out of 90, which is 62% HLA. So again, that argument of Vandal versus Phantom is coming to play here. If you're a croucher, Phantom might be the move for you. If you're very easy at reaction time and hitting heads, the Vandal is obviously going to be the play for you. So, what did we find out through these results? Insta crouching helps your aim increase. With the Phantom, it is drastic. With the Vandal, it's not as drastic. It is actually less drastic than the Phantom. You see the Phantom jump from a 14% all the way up to a 62% with insta crouching, and then stay at that 62% HLA with the 3 bullets after crouching. So what are our results from this first experiment? I kind of said a lot of big words, but I never really answered, is crouching beneficial? So in the short term, in this test, crouching helped. We saw our baseline, Vandal had 14% HLA and Phantom had 14% HLA. In Valorant terms, that's why Phantom versus Vandal is the lifelong question, because on paper, they are equal. The crouching, however, adds a little bit of a different effect. We see the Vandal increase to a 33% HLA, and the Phantom increase to a 62% HLA. That's just with insta-crouching. So what does that mean? That means crouching is way more effective if you use the Phantom. I know I said that earlier in the video, but it is 29% more effective than the Vandal. 29% more effective is the difference between losing a game and winning a game. But let's talk about crouching after 3 bullets. We see the Vandal accuracy go slightly higher with a 38% HLA. But the Phantom stays the same at 62% HLA. Remember, there's no aim correction here. So again, the Phantom is miles ahead of the Vandal when it comes to crouching accuracy. But now I'm going to switch it up a little bit, because we all know as Valorant players, not every fight is 5 meters away. So let's move the bot back 20 meters and see how much that affects our results. Our baseline, with no aim correction, the Vandal had a 6% HLA, the Phantom had a 4% HLA. Again, this is something that we see when Valorant first came out. The Vandal is your long range, the Phantom is your short range. With crouching, the Vandal hit 6 bullets out of the 75 in the mag. That's 8%, so it has a 2% increase from our baseline. The Phantom, on the other hand, hit 6 bullets out of 90, which is still a 6% increase from our baseline for the Phantom. And now this is where things get a little interesting. Remember I said Vandal is the long range gun? Well, crouching after 3 bullets, we saw that the Vandal only hit 4 out of 75 bullets. That's 5% HLA. The Phantom, on the other hand, 6 bullets. That's 6% HLA. So those results are a little tougher to say. But again, mathematically, crouching in long distances benefit you very little. So that's, again, a lot of words, a lot of stats. What does that mean in layman's terms? Crouching in long distance fights is way less beneficial than crouching in short range fights. And I know you're gonna say, that sounds so simple, why did you have to do all this math for it? It's because I see people immediately crouching while taking long range fights. The next time you guys play a game on Pearl, really watch your teammates to see if they crouch when they're fighting B long. Seriously, I'm not joking, it happens. But now, let's switch it up. Let's switch it up. We going to the range is all good and all, but what about in-game? Well, I tested that out too. I went into 2 death matches per variable, including the baseline. And let's see how things went. The first thing I'm going to do is the baseline, which is no crouching whatsoever. All right, just loaded up into a death match. First thing we got to do in order to test this. Controls, crouch, nothing, unbound. As you can see, pressing my crouch key, not crouching.
Got 3. Now 4.
Dominating.
Variable removed. That's done.
What the fuck? Holy shit. I don't think I've ever done an 8 kill streak like that before. Yo, I'm really surprised I actually won that match. But honestly, that was a really good game. We're going to do one more with no crouching. Phantom's going to go first this time instead of Vandal, and we'll see if the results still hold true. So as you can see, the baseline is my normal typical play. I very rarely crouch. I just recently started using the Phantom, and I still don't crouch. And when I don't crouch when I use the Phantom, I notice that my kills actually decrease. However, I like to use the Vandal. The Vandal is my main gun. However, in higher elo, I'm noticing the Vandal starting to be phased out a little bit. So with the Vandal, no crouching, the Vandal felt amazing. I got an 8K on split. I've never done that, I don't think. I loved using the Vandal without crouching. When it came to the Phantom, I noticed my finger was creeping to the control button even though it was unbound. I was trying to crouch to fix the spray pattern. However, it wouldn't work. So, game 1, obviously, I dropped 20 and 20. 20 kills with the Vandal, 20 kills with the Phantom. In my opinion, the Vandal felt easier. The Phantom felt way more difficult to control. The second game I played wasn't as good. I placed 5th. I got 20 kills with the Phantom, 14 with the Vandal. But what I noticed is it took me a long time to get those 20 Phantom kills. we were playing on Icebox, map 2, and I know that's out of comp right now, but the Phantom felt very difficult to use on that map. Which brings me to something else that are in science projects, and that's called outliers. Outliers are things that can affect your science project and kind of throw off your results. So mathematically, all these percentages should be true. However, outliers exist. I am a human. I am not AI. I have bad aim sometimes. Or I can get into a game that has really good opponents. Or, like I just brought up, Icebox is a very unfavorable map for Phantom. It's a lot more long-range fights, and the Phantom just simply doesn't have that good of control long range. So if the Phantom doesn't have good control long range, and I can't crouch to reset the spray pattern, obviously it's going to feel harder. But let's move on to our Instacrouching. And when I tell you I was not a fan of this, this is when I started to get tilted a little bit. Game 1 went decent. Second place, 37 kills, 20 with the Vandal, 17 with the Phantom. So the thought in my head started creeping up. I might just genuinely be better with the Vandal than I did the Phantom. However, because I had this thought process in my head, I really looked back and reflected on the game. The aim felt a little shaky with the Vandal. However, with the Phantom, it switched. The Phantom felt great. I felt like I had way more control over the spray pattern. I feel like I was hitting more heads, and I just didn't have enough time for the Phantom. But that's why I ran 2 games and had Phantom go first the second game. And when Phantom went first the second game, guess what happened? I placed first. The aim felt way better on the Phantom. The headshots were a lot easier with the Phantom. I think I started to correct myself with the Vandal, so the Vandal felt a little bit better this game. But the Phantom was it. That was the answer to this second variable, I guess. Finally, the third variable. This one was hard to test, in my opinion, because it was trying to break the habit that I just formed, and that was Instacrouching. I immediately found myself Instacrouching after 2 games of Valorant. I've never crouched. You can ask all the people that I play with. I very rarely crouch, and I found myself Instacrouching, and I had to break out of that. First game, 3rd place. 20 kills with the Vandal, 13 with the Phantom. The Phantom felt really good with this method. The Vandal was a little shaky. I felt like I couldn't get into a rhythm with my aiming. What I mean by that is, when I'm in a rhythm, it makes it easier to flick onto heads, flick onto other people's bodies, flick onto util, stuff like that. I couldn't find that rhythm. That's the rhythm that I'm talking about is the same 8K I got in Split. I was on a rhythm. But the second game, again, 3rd place, 20 with the Phantom, 17 with the Vandal. The Phantom again felt really good, and the Vandal felt really hard to get into. I think the way I look at it is, with the Vandal, you're automatically aiming for that head, and when you get one shot on that head, it kills. With the Phantom, you know if you hit the head from long distance, you gotta pull down and hit another shot. So this method really works if you're a Phantom user. So finally, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid. I'm just gonna give you the answer that you've all been waiting for this video. And that is, does crouching actually affect your aim? And to that, my friends, I say, yes. Yes, it does. But also, no, it doesn't. Honestly, guys, it really comes down to your sense of play. If you're a Phantom user, crouching after shooting typically felt the best to me. The insta-crouching didn't feel that bad either. In my opinion, I liked shooting 3 bullets and then crouching with the Phantom, if I was a Phantom main. If I was a Vandal user, I'm still going for those counter-strafe 1-taps. Shoot 3, reset the aim, shoot 3, reset the aim, stuff like that. I feel like my opinion matters a little bit because I'm now diamond and I'm not gold, silver, bronze. I'm not trying to teach people how to play. I'm not doing any of that. I'm genuinely just trying to answer the question with math and science, is crouching bad for you? So I still believe, in my opinion, I still feel the best method is to aim for the head and tap for the counter strafe with the Vandal. Therefore, little to no crouching is the best method for achieving kills in this demographic. The insta-crouching felt really good with both guns, but the Phantom had that edge, being the easiest to control and the easiest to get headshots. However, when the fight was medium to long range, that insta-crouching effect immediately went away. It felt very effective. Finally, the crouch while spraying method actually felt like the best way to use the Phantom, but using the Vandal with this method proved to be very difficult. I would not recommend that for Vandal users. But scientifically, crouching does affect your aim. Whether that's negatively or positively, that is up for you to decide.